Welcome to the ESU 6 Craft Knowledge video series. I'm Lenny VerMaas, and I'll be sharing primacy-recency with you today. Primacy-recency, another name for primacy-recency is serial positioning. And basically, what I like to say with this is that serial positioning or primacy-recency members that you remember best what comes first in a sequence, and second best what comes last, and the middle is kind of lost. I do like to use the example, if I give you a list of, say, 15 words, and I read them to you and I said to write down the words you remembered, which ones of the words on the list would you remember? Well, typically you'll remember the first words, you'll remember the last words, and then there's some words in the middle that have special significance that you'll remember as well, and that's really more to relevance, but mostly you'll remember the first and the last word. So that's basically a way to kind of explain how primacy-recency works. This is a graph of primacy-recency, and it really shows very well in a learning period, and this is a 40-minute period, your best retention time is at the beginning of class and at the end of class, and then in the middle, retention is a little bit less. Now, if you think about a typical school period, as I'm talking about, if you think about a typical school period, basically that stresses the importance when students come into your classroom that you have something ready for them to do, because typically you have lots of other things like taking roll, someone comes up, they missed yesterday, you need to give them assignments, so you need to have something planned, a bell ringer when the students come in to do at the beginning of class. The second most important time is at the end of class, and what happens a lot of times at the class is you've been going and you say, well, you know, we just have 5 minutes left, it's not worth doing anything, but the end of the class time is good to play maybe a vocabulary game. We have some examples in some of our other video series like Taboo or something like that, or you can do some activities where you're going to have to give them some processing time, but stress the importance of that time at the end of class, because again, the beginning and the end of class are typically the times that you need to spend and make sure the students are properly engaged. Okay? So the amount of processing time, again, depends a little bit on the length of the period. I know some people have a 80 or 90 minute period. If you look at an 80 or 90 minute period, you have a lot of downtime in the middle. What you can do is, through state changes or the way you design your class period, is you can break that into smaller periods. So an 80-minute period, you could break into 20-minute periods, which would allow you to utilize that time a little bit better as you're going through. Okay? So one of the things that I like about the primacy-recency is make sure that you utilize the time that you have. The other thing I would say about primacy-recency is, and I have no evidence to back this up, but I think that it might apply to the school year. So at the beginning of the school year, students are ready to come back and they're ready to start their new learning. And typically in a lot of classes, math classes especially, we spend that time reviewing what they did last year. The same thing happens when you come back from Christmas break. So, you know, take advantage of those times when kids come back from vacation and they're ready to go. Thinking about primacy-recency and how you define and use your class. So that's how we define primacy-recency. We encourage you to use this strategy with intention to improve your practices.